They arrived above the skies of New Carthage, humanity's proudest frontier colony, a jewel world of blue oceans and silver cities orbiting the twin suns of Epsilon Serpentis. The people looked up that morning expecting trade convoys and passenger liners. Instead, they saw shadows. A fleet of obsidian ships, angular and silent, drifted into orbit. The insignia of the Varkun Dominion burned across their hulls, a stylized serpent devouring a star. At first, no weapons fired, no declaration of war, just a broadcast, low, metallic, contemptuous. Humans of New Carthage, you now reside within Dominion space. By decree of the Varkun High Conclave, all lesser species shall provide tribute. Surrender your resources, your ships, and 1 in 10 of your population for service. Failure to comply will result in purification. The human governor, Elias Rourke, refused. His reply was measured, defiant. We don't bow. Not to conquerors. Not to tyrants. The Varkun commander laughed, a sound like grinding blades. Hours later, the bombardment began. Plasma lances rained from orbit, turning continents to glass. Towers melted into slag. Seas boiled. The screams of 10 million souls echoed through every comm channel until the sky itself burned red. The Dominion called it a necessary correction. And when their fleet departed, leaving only ash, they broadcast a message to the entire Terran Union. Let this be your lesson. The tribute will be delivered in one cycle, or we will come for Earth itself. The mockery of kings across the stars. The Varkun celebrated their victory. In their grand citadels of black steel, beneath banners woven from the hides of conquered species, their nobles toasted to their conquest of the primitive Earth spawn. They spoke of humanity as one speaks of insects, clever, adaptable, but ultimately fragile. The Varkun had crushed dozens of species before. The songless quell, the gas breathers of Vora, the crystalline Axari, all had knelt. They believed humans would too. In the Dominion's high chamber, Commander Zarin, the butcher of New Carthage, stood before the conclave. Wings folded proudly. The humans are loud but soft. Their worlds ripe for tribute. Their fleets laughably few. They hide behind treaties and talk of peace. They will comply. They always do. The conclave roared with approval. The Varkun were predators by nature, their culture built on domination. To them, conquest was sport, war was harvest, and humanity was simply the next field to reap. They paraded captured humans, survivors from New Carthage, through their plazas, chains glinting under alien suns. Children cried, elders stood silent, and across the Dominion's networks, a single phrase echoed. The Terrans will bow, or they will burn. What they didn't understand, what they couldn't understand, was that humanity had already burned, and from ashes, humans never stayed down. The long silence for a time, the galaxy held its breath. No word came from Earth. No retaliation. No fleets. The Varkun took that as proof of submission. They sent their demands again, expecting the tribute. But the transmissions went unanswered. The humans were quiet, too quiet. Scouts reported Terran space growing still. Trade lanes empty, colonies off-grid. The Dominion's analysts debated whether internal collapse had begun. And then, from the black between stars, whispers began to spread. Vessels of other species, smugglers, traders, even pirates, told stories. Human outposts were not abandoned. They were fortifying. Mining output had spiked across the Sol frontier. Massive ship movements were detected, their destinations unknown. One Varkun envoy scoffed, "Let them dig their graves deeper. The tribute will be taken soon enough." But as the weeks passed, Dominion ships began to vanish. Patrols near Terran borders stopped reporting in. Whole squadrons disappeared without a trace. No wreckage, no signals, only silence. And from that silence, one transmission finally broke through the void. It came from a human frequency, relayed across every Dominion comnet simultaneously. To the Varkun conclave, you demanded tribute. You will receive fire. Then, nothing but static. The message lasted 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds, an empire began to tremble. The coming of Earth's wrath, when the first human fleet arrived, it did not announce itself. Varkun sensors picked up distortions near the Khazar frontier, gravitational signatures too dense for merchant craft. Then the void tore open. Out of the wormgate emerged steel titans, hundreds of Terran dreadnoughts, each a floating continent of weaponry, hulls black as midnight, bearing the insignia of the Terran Union, a silver phoenix rising from flames. Admiral Sloane's voice echoed across open channels, cold and absolute. By order of the Terran Union Defense Command, retribution is authorized. No quarter, the Dominion scrambled. Fleets were mobilized, planetary shields raised, but it was too late. The human assault began with surgical precision. Kezar Prime, a fortress world thought impregnable, fell in 12 hours. Orbital platforms shattered under kinetic strikes. Cities were vaporized by tungsten rods descending from orbit at near light speed. A Varkun warlord screamed over comms, "You cannot defeat the Dominion. We are eternal." The human reply came without emotion. Eternity ends today. Every system that had joined in the assault on New Carthage was targeted. One by one, they burned. The fire unleashed. The galaxy had seen wars before, but never like this. Human fleets didn't just fight, they erased. Their tactics were brutal, efficient, and utterly merciless. Where the Dominion enslaved, humanity liberated, by annihilating their captors. Where the Dominion demanded tribute, humanity sent orbital infernos. Entire star systems lit up like candles. Planetary crusts cracked beneath bombardments so intense they altered atmospheres. The Varkun's proud war temples were reduced to drifting debris fields. The Dominion's admirals tried to regroup, summoning every ship to defend their core worlds. But the humans moved faster, smarter, relentless. The TUSD Invictus alone destroyed 7 Dominion battle moons, each one a world-sized weapon. The Erebus, a stealth dreadnought, infiltrated the Varkun home system undetected and shattered their communication grid with a single EMP cascade. And then came the Legionnaires, human ground forces, clad in exo-armor, powered by quantum cores, descended upon the Varkun worlds like falling stars. Their drop pods burned through atmosphere, striking with the force of meteor impacts. The Varkun had never faced soldiers who fought like this, who moved with machine precision and human fury. In the ruins of Korath, one Varkun commander watched helplessly as human banners rose over his capital. His aide whispered, terrified. They said the humans were weak. The commander could only stare at the sky. Weakness doesn't burn like this. The Dominion's fall. The war lasted 43 days. By its end, the Varkun Dominion, which had stood for millennia, no longer existed. Its fleets were gone, its worlds in ruin, its rulers either dead or in chains. Humanity did not conquer for glory. They did not occupy. They destroyed, precisely, coldly, until no threat remained. The surviving Varkun envoy, Jaran, the same who had ordered the annihilation of New Carthage, was captured. Brought before the Terran Fleet Council, he tried to speak, to beg, to reason. "We only sought tribute. You could have negotiated." Admiral Sloane's response was as quiet as it was final. "You asked for tribute. You earned extinction." Jaran was sent to drift in an escape pod, not toward a planet, but into the endless dark. A fitting sentence for a species that thought itself above mercy. The ashes of empire. When the firestorms finally ceased, the galaxy was silent. Where the Dominion symbols once shone, only dust clouds remained. Star systems lay scarred, reminders of humanity's wrath. Other species, watching from afar, whispered in fear. The humans had been peaceful, patient, diplomatic for generations. But now they had shown what lay beneath that calm. The Federation of Vora issued a public decree. Henceforth, no envoy shall demand tribute of Earth or its colonies, for the cost of arrogance has been shown to all. The surviving Dominion worlds, barren and broken, became memorials. No human ever set foot there again. They didn't need to. The silence was punishment enough. The lesson of fire years. Later, in the ruins of Kezar Prime, alien historians searched for understanding. They found fragments of Terran transmissions, pieces of humanity's broadcast during the retaliation. One line stood out, repeated across every system before the final strikes. "We are humanity. We pay no tribute. We kneel to no throne. And when the stars burn, know this, our fire remembers." It was more than vengeance. It was a warning, carved into the very memory of the galaxy. In taverns and war academies across the Orion Arm, that phrase became legend. Parents whispered it to their children when they spoke of Earth. Admirals studied it as doctrine. And empires shuddered whenever a Terran ship entered orbit, because they all remembered the day the humans stopped speaking and started burning. The eternal warning. Centuries later, long after the Varkun were dust, travelers still tell the tale. They speak of the species who demanded tribute from Earth, who mistook silence for weakness, who taught humanity how to hate. And they speak of the answer humanity gave, not in words, but in flame. For in the void, there is a saying now, A saying no ruler dares forget. You may trade with Earth. You may plead with Earth. But you will never threaten Earth. Because once, the Varkun tried. They demanded gold and slaves and surrender. But what they received was fire, and the fire never died.